Hi guys, my name is Shahal and I have a Bachelor in Finance and also work in finance, and I'm just bringing you the financial news here and explain it to you in plain terms and tell you what it means. So let's start off with the 10-year treasury yield. It's at 4.7% and it's trending up. It's been trending up and it's been the highest year to date. It started off the year at 4.1% and it's going up. It's not the best, it's not good essentially, because that means that yield prices, when they go up, the bond prices go down. And what that means is investors demanding more return for giving their money to the United States government, to lending the money to the states, to to do whatever the U.S. do with it and then give it back to them plus the interest. So 4.7% yield means that investors are less confident in the 10-year treasury, and they're demanding more return to compensate for the risks. What other risks? Inflation risks, and also repayment risk and all that stuff. But with the U.S. Treasury, it's essentially like a risk-free, but nothing is really risk-free. So in this case, it's inflation risk. When inflation keeps going up, the money they will get back in the long run would be worth less. So that will erode their return. So a little bit more on that is unemployment. Well, let's keep going with that report. Unemployment rate is at 4.2%. It's a little bit high. It's around the target the Feds wanted, but here's the thing is, if you talk to anyone, like I have some people I know, they've been looking for a job for like 6 months, a long time, it's not the best, because these numbers, I'll be, to say the least, a little bit skeptical of. Maybe they need to be revised up or down, or depending, but these are the official numbers. And the federal government, or the Feds in that case, the Federal Reserve, their dual mandate is managing maximum employment and turning down and managing a 2% target of inflation. And these two mandates conflict with each other. And in terms of the geopolitical situation and the national debt crisis, which is at 39%, and it's keep going up, no one even counting anymore. The interest rate is really high. When the Feds raise rate, they essentially raising rates on themselves. So if the Feds raise rate today, that means the rates that they will have to pay back their investors, or the people that they borrowed money from, would be higher. So the best case scenario for the Feds, the rates would have to be zero or as low as possible, because that will bring down their cost of debt and the cost of money they have. So a little bit more on that. So if the effective Fed fund rate is at 5.33%, and that number is essentially the number that rate is the rate that banks borrow. So a little bit more, I got caught up there, sorry. The effective Fed fund rate is at 5.33%. What does that mean? It means the rate at which banks borrow and lend each other money. And when the banks, their cost of money is 5.33%, that means they will charge whoever will charge you directly. They'll charge you directly the 5.33% plus their margin, their spread. So it will be the fund rate plus whatever markup they have to capture that money, to make money essentially. That's how banks make money. But how would that affect you directly? Because that affects your student loans, your credit card loans, and credit card loans the most, because it's a floating rate essentially. So it'll be like whatever rate, the base rate they have, plus like a certain amount depending on that. But it will affect your mortgage, it will affect definitely your mortgage, it affects your student loans, it affects everything. It will just increase it up. So if that rate were to be low, it would be better. But consumer price index, inflation, essentially it's inflation in the US, has fallen down to 3. I laugh because this is the official number, so we have to go with those. So the consumer price index minus food and energy is 3.5%. So official numbers saying that the inflation rate 3.5%. What does the inflation rate really mean? All it means is the rate of change, the annual rate of change of a certain basket of goods. The Feds they have a basket of goods, like whatever they sell, like coffee, beans, this and that, like grocery, bread, I don't know, depending on that basket of goods they measure. They just measure the rate of change of prices analyzed. And so they say that 3.5% increase of inflation, which means from the last time till now, that change is 3.5% up. And if you ask anyone else, like me personally, like shopping around, and I go to groceries, my bills just keep going up and up, and I was like, but that doesn't make sense. But this is official numbers, might be revised, might be not. I'll be a little bit skeptical when it comes to that. And well, they say it's at 3.5% in June 26. The first decline in 5 months compared to 4.2% in May, and below forecast. They had a forecast at 3.8, came at 3.5. How convenient! And with the new Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh, he said the Fed's essentially was split like in half, like dead split between raising interest rates and holding interest rates. And Kevin Warsh was like the one that breaks the tie, and he didn't do nothing. He just hold off. They hold off the rate, and so this has been convenient. So my thoughts and analysis on the federal fund rate. So what does that mean? So you have inflation going up. It's at 3. Well, this is 3.5, but knowing like what's going on is definitely going on. So inflation going up. The unemployment is also going up. I don't believe these unemployment numbers. So they always revise them. So you gotta keep in mind they might be revised depending on the job report coming up next. So inflation going up, unemployment not looking the best. Yields are trending up, which is really dangerous for the Feds. I don't want to be like, oh, doomsday. I hate these financial videos, but it's a real risk that yields are jumping up. They're not coming back down. That just shows and reflects investors' confidence in the Federal Reserve. That means they are less confident, and they see the risk, and they're demanding more returns for their money to be able to be comfortable to lend the money to the to the U.S. government. So inflation going up, job report going up, not looking the best. Bond yields are trending up, which is really dangerous, and it could get out of hand like really fast. So we need like good leadership to keep them on track. You have the debt crisis at 39 trillion going up, and this is really not good for all of us because the U.S. government keep printing more money, like billions of dollars every day. I don't know how much. And they print it out of thin air. Every time they print more dollars, your dollars are worth less. So inflation, in terms of like, because of all these actual risks, and plus like the U.S. government mishandling of the fiscal budget, and in terms of like wars, misspending, whatever government contracts and all that stuff, is putting a lot of pressures on the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar is already in a tough spot and is being contested like worldwide, but especially in the United States, inside the country, is facing a lot of pressures. So misspending from the government, debt crisis going up, all these like bad macroeconomics things are like brewing together. So what does that mean? And tell you the honest truth. A, no one knows. And B, for now and the foreseeable short future, nothing. Prices will probably keep going up, job market will be a little bit more shaky. But long term, like I'll say like next 6 months, like it's a little bit forward forecast, but I'll probably predict like, or kind of see not big drastic changes. If you see any YouTuber with like big red lines and going up and down and he's like going crazy, just tell him to chill out, to relax. And the U.S. government been like around for a while. The U.S. markets are mature and very mature, and they have the width to withstand all this volatility. And in the next 6 months, or let's say 3 months, the debt crisis is not going anywhere. All right, the inflation numbers will keep going up. Like the Feds will try to do their best to like slow the rate down, but inflation will keep going up. The job report will be sketchy a little bit. I would say like shaky to say the least. A lot of people not finding a lot of jobs. I know people personally that were looking for jobs for a long time. There still is. Some of my family members, honestly, and friends. And if I call them right now, they will not give me the best review of the job market. But you know, it's the United States. They definitely find jobs, but we'll see. The job market is shaky. Inflation is trending up. Yields are trending up. The one thing I'm really worried about is yields that is trending up at 4.7%. It can even go a little bit higher, but will have to come down because there's no way it's just keep going up like that. It will cost everyone a lot of money. What will happen in the next few months? I don't know. No one knows. But I'll tell you this for certain: nothing is coming. Nothing's crashing. From what I've seen and everybody sees, the U.S. market's been around for a really long time. They're mature. They can handle volatility. People are in the United States. Essentially, if a crash were to happen, I'd rather be in the United States than any other where in the world, because they have good systems. But until they break, you really don't know. So, would the market crash today? Is the market crashing today? That's the good news. No. Would it crash next week? Probably not. Not even the next month. I don't see any big changes. Crash is not coming up, but I'll tell you this: housing prices will keep going up, getting not the best, getting worse. A lot of things will keep happening. For the short-term future, no changes. But here's our numbers, and just to give you a good perspective on where the macro economics and financial situation of the United States is going. It's constantly changing. It's always changing. It could be to the better, to the worse. Anything can happen overnight. We don't know, but just keeping a good eye out on it, that will give you a good thumbs up. And coming up, I'll do a little bit more analysis on the private market, private credits. A lot of people calling it the mortgage-backed security. I highly disagree. If that's the case, it would be a lot worse than the mortgage-backed security. But I think it's not being covered the best, and there's no people that cover actual bond news and stuff. So follow me for more, and we'll stay in touch. Be well. Take care.